What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Be Sacred Space. Sorry, welcome to Be Sacred Space, your place for endless growth and possibilities. I am the beautiful, amazing, and intelligent creator of this awesome and rapidly growing space. My name is Bianca, but you can call me B, and I'm here to help you master yourself and live a conscious and empowered life. Now, if that is something you can get down with, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And I'm excited to have you guys all here today. Today is a very special episode. I have two special guests, and I have met them on a Conscious Parent panel on Crick Rick's radio show. And their story intrigued me so much, so I decided to send an invite and have them as a guest on this show. So I'm happy to present John Paul and Amy of Luv-A-Lution. How are you guys doing today?
We're
Hey,
doing well, Bianca. Thank you so very much for having us on your show today. We're so excited to be here.
yes, big Luv-A-Lution to you out there, out west in Idaho. And we kind of use it as a greeting too to people to remind each other, Luv-A-Lution, Luv-A-Lution, love yourself, right? Know thyself. Anyway, it's great to be here. We're excited for the chat.
Awesome. So I want to talk more about Luv-A-Lution. So can you tell us, a little bit about your guys' self, how you got to this point in your journey, and what exactly is Luv-A-Lution and why do you stand so firm behind it?
Wow, great questions. Yes. Well, it was my personal Luv-A-Lution, and I needed a word to describe what I was going through. And it was that evolution of consciousness, raising of consciousness, finding out the truth over the lies that I had been programmed with. And it was that evolution of consciousness towards self love. And I just saw this is a Luv-A-Lution I'm experiencing with grammar, just tons of info, downloads. And I was on a farm in California, and just my heart chakra opened up, blew open, and a lot of my beliefs dissolved. And I just had that word came to me, and just this is what I'm going through. We're all chasing stuff instead of love, and it's hidden within us and not external. And that's what I wanted to share. Then I met my twin flame and soulmate Amy here about 8 years ago, and we kind of brought that Luv-A-Lution into manifestation in the 3D. We got a product, a health food supplement, and tried to sell it on Amazon. Working with them was a little difficult, the evil empire. So we got out of there, but we just started making videos, and we were learning truth together through information, through amazing researchers, David Icke, Mark Passio, Max Egan, all sorts of information we were just taking in. And so that's kind of where the Luv-A-Lution was started.
That's
And it's
awesome.
kind
What
of like
such a
revolution
strong.
with love.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Okay.
So revolution with love, be peaceful by bringing peace and be loving, and we'll have a loving world.
Right. It all really starts with like what you want as your end solution has to be your starting point. Like we can't tackle health with having a toxic mindset. We have to tackle health in like a holistic, healthy way. And so I love that. Like that's amazing. So what kind of like, woke you up to what's going on in the world?
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's a great question. Well, I've been a rebel, and then my whole life I had six older brothers and two parents. So I had about eight parents tell me what to do. And then teachers, coaches, priests, Catholic, very heavy in the, oh, sweetie. Um, the Catholic Church. I was very heavily programmed and didn't get it, didn't understand it. Always hated school, that kind of stuff. So the programming didn't stick personally.
Yeah, for me, I started waking up pretty young, but I didn't realize that I was waking up. You know, I started noticing something was wrong. Something didn't feel right very young. You know, going to public school and being going to public school and being graded. I used to be so stressed, and I just felt like there was more to life than this. And then when I was pregnant, I started researching vaccines because I never had before. So I thought, well, I should probably start. And then I went down that rabbit hole, and that really started like the awakening about sovereignty and self-protection and self-defense, and being aware of the dangers in the world and our true enemy that's trying to, you know, keep us down and keep our light dim. So yeah.
But
That's
yeah, we love the truth too. We get up and want to know more. We don't want to go make more money, but we want to know more. We love knowledge and that thirst for knowledge and wisdom and the care. You know, we have that care to then put it out. You know, like yourself, you're doing amazing stuff. So great job. And we put you on our website as a truth warrior on there with 75 other great truth warriors, truth speakers, and seekers.
well,
So
thank you so much.
yeah, check it out next time you're on there.
Okay, I will.
Luv-A-Lution.ee. Yeah.
Which, like, oh my goodness, like so much I want to say. So for me personally, I found as I reflect back in my life, like I found during different stages of my life very early that like I had these small little like awakenings. Like you, I just naturally rebelled. I could not stay in school. When I was in high school, I had already determined that if I was to ever have kids, I would never send them to public school.
Wow, good for
And I
you.
just always like was different. Like I always just processed and thought differently. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, I actually started going down the rabbit hole, but it was getting so depressing. I was like, I can't deal with this in my pregnancy right now. And I kind of just put a pin on it and kind of forgot about it. And then like 2 years later, everything like came like crashing in, and I started like realizing like, wow, like things just made sense. Like how the world was operating just started to make sense to me. And so like for me, I suffered through depression and suicide for like 14 years of my life. And even while I was taking these psychiatric drugs, like I had already knew, I'm like, these doctors don't care about me. Like all they do is push these drugs on me, and they're not really serious about helping me understand what is going through my life. And I remember telling my mom this, and she was like, don't say that kind of stuff. Like, you can't have people hear that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why? Like, that's the truth. And now I see back, like, the programming goes so deep that like people naturally know that there is more truth than what we are told, but there's so much fear within them that they won't say nothing, or they'll stop other people from speaking their truth. So
Yeah.
I just think it's so crazy to see, like, I mean, it was so amazing to see the synchronicities for people. Like a lot of their awakening happens a lot earlier in their life, but doesn't usually kind of catch up until later. And then it's like, oh, okay, I see why I experienced this or I went through this.
Yes,
That's so true.
absolutely.
It's so
It's like a
true.
culmination of knowledge that we build up in our info and experience through experiences.
And we keep putting each other back to sleep by saying, oh, no, don't talk about that. No, we don't want them to hear this. No, you know.
Don't look into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look
Which
behind the curtain, right? Just like in Wizard of Oz is a great allegory. The wizard is just a guy, you know, with a megaphone and some smoke and mirrors, and that's the big fear. The fear is a liar. Yeah, we have to go at our fears, and those, and we think that we've learned the more you age, the you age quicker if you don't face your fears, is what I'm trying to say.
I
And
definitely agree with
basically,
that.
We refuse to change, so we die. Or, you know, we refuse to change, so we grow old, we do the same thing, and then we die, and then, you know, we repeat it, or we learn, and then we can take what we learn. It's very important. Okay, honey. I'm sorry, everybody. We have a teething baby. His teeth, he has 2 teeth coming in. He has 1 that's coming. So he's just teething, but
he's happy to be here too. Look at it. He's
This is conscious parenting. We haven't had a day off in like 7 years.
Yeah, we
haven't had a date. You know, we've just been parenting.
They call it also attachment parenting. So we don't have grandma and grandpa right close by either. And so we haven't had our children sleep at Grammy's ever, really. And so, it's been on nonstop for about the last 7 years. But we love it. And we know we're creating that solid foundation where our kids will be, strong individuals in years to come. And we wanted, our goal was to create an abandonment-free child, basically no abandonment issues from mommy or daddy. We know it's difficult because none of us are perfect, but that was our goal. Because we were learning Passio's stuff together, and wow, it was incredible. We were integrating it, immediately. I was in the commercial fishing business, and I quit my job, and we changed our diet in one day after watching Earthlings, and that was an incredible epiphany as well, in our awakening together.
Mark Passio has been a huge catalyst in my journey, and I'm very grateful that I would say I started my path, and within 2 weeks I knew this kid back in high school, and he was always into weird things, and I had reached out to him, and I was just like, are you into conspiracies? He's like, they're not called conspiracies. He's like, if you're really serious about this, I want you to check out this website. And it was to Mark Passio's podcast, and I started listening. And when I was in school, I did not like learning at all. But when I came online, I couldn't get enough of the truth. And when I found Mark Passio's work, the way he laid the foundations and everything, it was so smooth. It was so easy to digest. And I felt like Mark Passio really helped connect the dots for me. And he introduced me to so many other people, like you had mentioned earlier. And it's there's no turning back from it now. I couldn't see myself going back to sleep. I don't think there's any other way. I mean, I believe that we can have a life that is free and fulfilling, but we have to be able to face our fears, and we have to be able to challenge, the status quo. And I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with that, but it's not about making immediate changes. It's about making small changes in the way that you think, the way you feel. It's about, coming face to face with your own shadows, your limiting beliefs, and learning to overcome that. Because once you realize, once you do all of that, you realize that you have such a strong creative force within you. And it's just up to you to tap into that. And once you tap into that creative force that is within you, that God force that is within you, then there's nothing that is not that is impossible. But I think people fear doing that so much because people don't like being uncomfortable. People don't like facing their abandonment wounds, things that we went through our childhood. So I think what you guys are doing is so amazing with, teaching people, to love thyself, to know thyself. And so
thank you. Yeah, likewise. His info, Mark's really filled in all the cracks, and it really motivated us to get some, start a YouTube channel, just start speaking what you know. And that moral obligation, when you learn the info and you absorb it, you understand it, you feel like an idiot if you don't say anything, and share with our fellow humans that what's really going on.
Right. And everyone has a different like way of relaying truth and relaying like our moral obligation, and that's why it's needed for everyone to find what's best for them to put the truth out. And so like for me, like I've always had a sense of needing to, help my fellow human my fellow humankind, like, awaken. And it's taken me some time to figure out exactly like what my spin was on it, but I just started making videos, and like, it'll come as it comes, and it has unfolded in so many different ways, and I've really enjoyed this journey. I've met so many incredible people. I've been pushing past my fear. Like, you guys are my fourth guest on here, and I've been
Wow.
doing videos for a year now, and I'm still nervous to be on the camera, but I still
Yeah.
show up, and I do realize that, the information that I have, the knowledge and the wisdom that I have will serve its purpose, and someone will resonate with it, because unfortunately, not a lot of people resonate with Mark Pastel. I try to get so many people to listen to him, and I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but some people are just so shut down to his information. And so I
Yeah.
find that that's why we need so many other people to relay truth and what is going on, in a way that resonates with the individual perspectives that are here on
Yeah.
planet Earth.
Oh, that's very well said. Yeah. Yeah, they judge the messenger, instead of the message, and that's sad with Mark's info because it's so important. And um, he's given us this knowledge that what the occultists are doing to us, and the playbook, he says basically, and we just slap it out of his hands. We don't care, and we just want to keep living our egoic, identified lives. And yeah, it's a tough thing. We love delving into the ETs, UFOs, all those types of things, um, because we basically live the opposite of almost everyone around us. We're so minimal. We don't even have a refrigerator. We haven't had a fridge for 3 years, and we go get a water from the spring. We drive there, fill up buckets, and I get bit by mosquitoes like crazy. I got it this time of year anyway. But most people would run from this lifestyle. And then we, do the wood in the middle of the winter. And thankfully, we can harvest wood on our property. And uh, anyway, I forget my point, but we need, yeah, we live very simple and minimalist. Um, we use about 30 gallons of water a week, where the average house uses 3,000 gallons of water. So it's basically, that's kind of why we wanted to get out here, so we didn't have to pay the man. We hated being in a mortgage, so we wanted to get somewhere where we could kind of free ourselves financially somewhat. And but yeah, it's um it's very important. My point now, I'll make a point to balance ourselves before we try to bring balance into the world. It's doing that inner work. And but like you said, getting that truth out with your videos is so important, and then as you go, you get confident, more comfortable, and you feel great after you do a video, because you might have planted a seed in someone out there, you know
Hmm.
and that truth can't be unsaid once you've blasted it out into the ether. So good on you.
Yeah, and it's all about planting the seeds. Like, there are times when I have planted seeds within like one of my friends who's not quite where I'm at and stuff, and he just like, all right, I'm not gonna really say nothing, and then like years later, he's like, wait, hold on, what you? Okay, that makes sense now. So
Yeah.
never undervalue the seeds that you plant, even if the person or the people don't get it like right away. um but like, it's so amazing that you guys, what people would say, sacrificed comfort to, you know, live a life that you feel is right for you and your family. And like, that's not easy. Like, I lived on a farm. We were trying to kind of transition to like more of an off grid and whatnot. And
Okay, bring it
so
over here.
it
Let me
was a
help.
lot harder for me because I've always lived like the normie lifestyle. And so
Yeah.
there were a couple of times where like our pump in our well went out, and for like months we didn't have like, we couldn't really access like our running water and stuff like that. I mean, that experience was so amazing. It was very challenging at times, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because I really felt that living on a farm, and who I was living with, I had an amazing friend who allowed me and my daughter to move in, and she taught me a lot about like permaculture, and
That's awesome.
she was very aware as well. So it was great that we were like really like building this like foundation together. But it was hard because she was kind of used to like, you know, living without like electricity, having to like get her own food, make her own food without like electricity. And it was challenging for me, but it was so amazing to like go through certain experience with her, that I'm so glad like my daughter got to experience as well. Like I said, like always, I think people should spend at least like a season or two like on a farm or homesteading and like really putting in the work, because it seriously, there's so many lessons that you can learn like homesteading and being off grid that you can't just learn in a school.
Absolutely. Yes. Very well said. Yeah, we.
We're looking to start, we're going to start our own school, and we're teaching morality, and we're teaching how to farm, right? How to grow your own vegetables, how to from seed, teaching kids skills that they can take for their whole lives, how to make your own bread. I didn't know any of this stuff graduating high school. I didn't start learning until I was out of school, really, about how to take care of myself. So we're going to teach kids how to take care of themselves, be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Forage
okay,
and what
honey.
we can eat out in nature and knowledge of nature and self, and the morality, of course, a trivium. And yeah, we're going to raise money and have it all free, PMA. And we've amassed a lot of knowledge because she went to college for wildlife biology. And we've just loved researching together for a while. So we want to share that knowledge. Birds we love, so all of nature. And yeah, Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
And
I'll teach them about that.
we'll be learning right with them. It'll be a situation where we'll all be learning together. We
Mhm.
teach our kids. We are always learning. We're still learning. We're
Yeah,
learning new skills every day with our kids. So it teaches them, learning doesn't stop, and it's fun. It's fun to learn new skills. It's really
It is.
enjoyable.
yes. As a conscious parent, teaching your child the joy of learning and that wonder of learning new things. And let's go look it up, or let's go find out about this or that, or whatever question comes up. That's real important, we think, to instill that we're always learning, not in a building, during a certain time. The world is our school, and the earth is our school. The world is the matrix, but the earth, Mother Earth, yes.
Yes. I mean, we all learned way more after we graduate school in the real life. Like the truth is like school doesn't teach us anything of value. And I've asked people multiple times, like, how much stuff do you actually recall from school? And a lot of people, like, I don't really use anything. I don't really recall a whole lot of stuff because it's just a waste of time. They give you like the illusion that you have a choice in what you learn in school, but it's not. It's a lie. But when you homeschool, like when you, I guess, unschool, you have that choice of allowing your children to learn what they want to learn. And it is a process of learning yourself. Like, again, I tell my daughter all the time, like, I don't know everything. Like,
Same,
I
actually.
will never claim that I know in like anything. Like, the more that I learn, the more I realize I don't know nothing. But it's so fun because like there's so many topics that I'm excited to look into, and now I enjoy learning. I did not like force learning in public school, but now that I get the choice to learn like what I want to, it has become amazing. I have read more books than I have ever read in my school years. Like
Oh, yeah.
I have picked up a lot of skills and I've loved it. I love the opportunities that I have with my children.
Good for you.
So can you guys tell me like what are some of the biggest lessons you guys learned homesteading?
Wow, great question. Do you want to start that, honey? What have you learned?
Yeah, lots. Wow, a lot of skills. I had some building skills, but you know, we learned a lot more, and because we basically brought a travel trailer with a patio, took it apart, drove it up here, and then put it back together on our land. And we didn't really know how it worked at all, the functions of it. Um, and so, what else?
We had to figure out where's our water gonna come from. So we had to figure out that.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to do with our.
We got a solar panel.
Yeah, our electricity. We had to figure that out. So we learned how to do solar. I learned how to can. Never did that before. Canned our own pickles. We made our own relish. That was amazing.
And salsa.
Made our own salsa.
Yeah, tomatillo, tomatoes.
It wasn't easy though, getting used to not having like a fridge and things like that. It was hard for me, but I'm now, my ego is a lot quieter, and I'm just flowing with it instead of going up against it and kicking and screaming. I'm flowing with it, and life's become very simple and easy.
Yeah,
but it wasn't easy to start.
Yeah,
so we've grown a lot since we've gotten here, for sure.
Yeah, but that was the question. What were some of the things we learned homesteading? Yeah, gardening and just self-sufficiency, really doing everything yourself, trying to fix your car, from fixing your car, your power, your home. We had leaks everywhere, so I had to caulk so many.
There was like a waterfall coming in the house. Waterfall going everywhere, all over the place. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, so it was raining inside for a while. And we were still chasing leaks. But, you know, you learn to live with certain things. And, but yeah, we've gotten some more. We didn't have a hot shower for the first 6 months. That was an amazing amenity to have. We were just like warming up a bag of water in the sun and letting a gravity shower. So that was interesting. But kind of like just camping for a long time. Like we've been camping for 3 years. Basically.
But now we're set up. We got our electricity. We got, our solar set up. We got hot water. Grateful for John Paul. He lugs the water up here. So we have hot showers. That makes it a nice homey situation.
Yes, indeed.
So to look back on it, it's like, wow, we have come far. It's amazing.
Dude, that's such an awesome journey. Like, unfortunately, I do not believe that everyone could do that. But the skills that you learn along the way through that process, I know like some people may hear that and be like, wow, that's horrible. But like, I feel like that would make you a better person. That would make you more adaptable to like your situation and your change, and you become good at like problem solving.
Yes, very true. Troubleshooting. I wanted to make that point. Like problem solving, troubleshooting. Good point. Also dealing with our own poop, having to smell it every day humbles you, So most people flush and they never see it or smell it and it's gone. And we think our poop doesn't smell, and that's not true.
We get it pumped out every month. We figured it out, and the truck comes and
But yeah,
brings
thankfully
it away.
I don't have to do it anymore. But we've evolved and we've domesticated ourselves somewhat here. But we had a bigger house. We had to heat in the winter in Maine, and it was costing a fortune. And now to heat a small space is so much more. A whole tank lasts a year, where it lasted 3 weeks at our old house. And so,
and then we get daddy home more because now we don't have as many bills,
yeah.
And that's
Which is
yeah.
That's awesome. Like having the parents in the house raising the kids, like you had mentioned earlier, like you guys have been parents, like you guys have really been parents in your guys'
Full
kids'
time.
lives for 7 years. And that's the same amount of time that I quit my job. I had 2 jobs. I have been a single mom my whole entire journey.
Good for
But
you. Wow.
I quit my job. I was in a situation that I could quit my job and just, discover a lot about myself, be there with
Awesome.
my daughter. And I mean, I'm going on again 7 years this year of being strictly a stay-at-home mom. I moved to Idaho. All my family is in Ohio, so I don't really have anybody to drop my kids off at.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I have them pretty much all the time, though I do get a little bit break because I am in a co-parenting relationship with my son's father. So my son does spend time with his father, but I still have my daughter. So there's not really a whole lot of vacation, off time and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Wow.
I get
Good
it.
for
I
you,
get
Yeah.
it.
Jill.
Like you got to make
Good
it
for
work with your
you.
kids.
No,
What
you're
a
right.
great mommy
You can
are.
relate. Yes, I
Thank
know.
you.
We're very similar that way. We'd rather be with our children, influencing them than anyone else. Um, and teaching them, of course, and protecting them and all that.
Which is it's such an understatement, like an underestimated position to be in, like to be a full-time parent. Like I know a lot of people have skewed views of like what that means. Like you just lay around all day and your kids just do whatever. Like being a stay-at-home parent is the most stressful job you can ever have. Like it's beautiful, it's amazing, but it's the most stressful job. Like if you're sick, there's no tapping out, there's no calling off, there's no paid sick time. Like you have to deal with that all the time. But it is
That's
such
so true.
a blessing to be able to actually see your children grow and evolve and be a part of that process along the way. Like unfortunately we miss so much of our children's lives with them being in other people's care, being in school, and being at work full time. And I know everybody can't do it, and I agree, like not everybody should be stay at home parents, but I really think that people need to like kind of reconsider their roles in their children's
Right.
lives and how much time and attention that they are giving their children, because they do need us. Even when they're older, they need us. But if we build those foundations at a very young age, we'll be a solid support system for them throughout their lives.
Absolutely.
I wanted to
Yes.
say
Well said.
something about like women being mommies. We have children, but we've been taught that, like during the women's movement and everything, we're supposed to have a career, and we're supposed to be doing that, and then parenting too, but our career comes first. And my mindset's changed a lot since I've had kids. I want to be a mommy now. I want to do that instead of do my career, and so that shifted big time for me. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. We learn a lot from nature, and the birds teach us about parenting. They're amazing parents. And some are better than others, of course, but they would never give up their eggs. They protect them till to the death, really, their children.
They
And
teach their kids how to survive, how to thrive, how to eat
in such a short time,
how to take care of themselves.
And they're off into the world, flying around on their own. And they do that 3 times in one summer. And yeah, anyway, she really introduced me to birding and how great parent we can learn from nature and the animals and the care, because the parents now, the child, it's anti-child. The Western culture has become anti-child, convenient parenting, what the convenience of the parent, not of the concerning the child, really. And that is all wrong, basically, and that creates that separation, and that's what they want, to then have controlled, obedient, worker slaves. So
Agreed. I remember having a conversation with my older brother when I was, starting to be a stay-at-home mom. And he's like, well, don't you want to work until like you are like financially well off, and then your kids are older, and then you can have a relationship with them? And I'm like, by that time, they're not my kids anymore. They would be under someone else's influences. By, making it, being present in their life as young as they are, it'll build our relation and our foundation more. Like, I mean, yes, to have money is important. We live in a society where you need some form of income. But for me, I rather take that sacrifice and be present with my children, because I grew up in a single family home. My mom didn't have any support from our fathers, and she worked 2 to 3 jobs. Like, the one thing I always wish was I had more time with my mom. Now, as an adult, I understand the amount of sacrifice my mom took for us, but I didn't want that to be the case with my children. Like, I wanted to struggle through it as long as I was able, like, for them to remember. Like, I remember every night my mom was there reading me bedtime stories. We played every day. Like, my mom was always in my life. And so that's always been an important factor in my decision. Again, has not been the easiest journey, but sometimes sacrifice is needed when it comes to, I mean, we do it all the time as parents. We sacrifice all the time. It's just based upon what you are willing to sacrifice for your kids.
Yep. And from 0 to 3, I've been learning is so important with the attachments. Attachment disorders can start if we leave our children with other people. They actually think we've passed if we've been gone for a while, and the child doesn't understand, and gets very the attachment abandonment starts, and it starts as young as that. So as long as you can be there with your kids as much as you can, especially when they're little, is very, very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Absolutely.
And you're the most qualified of any person. Sorry. Any person in the world, you, mommy and daddy out there, a guardian, you're the most important person to that child and the most qualified, for sure.
Yes, and you're with them for more years of their life than anyone else. So yeah, you're teaching them whether you know it or not, really. So yeah, that's very important.
So let's talk about parenting more. And I want to talk about, your free birth and bringing your baby in uninterrupted in the safety of your space with your family. So what made you guys decide to free birth in the first place?
Nice. Great question. Our first birth was in the hospital, and it was an amazing birth. But at the end, my placenta was taking a long time to come out. 15 minutes isn't really a long time, but anyhow, it took 15 minutes, and the doctor started pushing on my tummy very hard. And he said, your placenta is not coming out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I hadn't done a lot of research about it. I didn't really know much about the first mother. It was the middle of the night too. He had like bedhead. He wanted to go home. He had a golf tournament the next day. And so they took me down to the emergency room right after I gave birth. And I had surgery to get my placenta out, or he went in and grabbed it. So that was traumatizing for me, and I didn't want to have a hospital birth. So we wanted to have a home birth if we ever had another baby. And I started stumbling down the free birth society. It's online, and there's a couple groups.
I know what you're talking about.
And I was like, holy cow. I started researching. I learned about the first mother. I learned about Angelica tincture that you can take. And so I was so excited to do it on my own. I decided I'm going to do this on my own. I feel confident in my body. And so November 24th was the day before he was born. I started getting cramps, and I looked online, and I saw, drink pineapple juice. It'll help your contractions. So I went to the store. I got pineapple juice, and I'm having some contractions. Didn't think much of it. Went to bed that night and woke up at 6 a.m. the next day and started having really strong contractions. Very, very strong. And so I just walked back and forth in our off-grid home, and John Paul was at the table journaling, and my son was on the porch playing with our kitten, and it was very homey, and my cat was there for me. She kept blinking, and very calming energy. And then I saw a cardinal outside around 10:30, a beautiful red cardinal. Never seen him before. I felt like it was an ancestor, and I was feeling very calm and comfortable. And then at 11 o'clock, I got on the futon in the living room, and the boys were like, "Is he coming?" His head popped out. We saw his head. I could see it. It was so exciting. And then, bam, he popped right out. I took Angelica tincture. My placenta came out in 10 seconds. Everything was wonderful. We cut the cord after it had pulsed for a while, so we got all the nutrition. And it was amazing having him at home in the comfort of my home. Anybody out there who's thinking about doing it, I highly recommend it. Your body was made for this. It knows what it's doing. And do some research, inform yourself. And yeah, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the medical system has interfered for the last 100 years. Babies were coming free birth, unassisted, natural for thousands of years before, and yeah, they've just brainwashed us thinking that we need them, but yeah,
they use fear a lot, you know.
Take our power.
What if
back.
This happens? What if that happens? Well, it's possible. Anything is possible. I could fall right now and break my neck, or anything's possible at any given time. And that's just going into the unknown and trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
Yes.
Agreed.
Not letting fear control us or govern our behaviors. And our families called us crazy, and you're nuts. What are you thinking? And then we kind of had the last laugh when we had our healthy sweetie here staring at him.
That's so empowering. And like, that's the thing, like, women have been giving birth unassisted for way longer than women have been giving birth in hospitals. It's just that knowledge has been taken away from us. It is up to us and mothers to be, and mothers who are looking into having more kids or just happen to have more kids, like, to become more informed of, what the risks truly are from home birthing and, birthing in a medical system. I had my first daughter in a hospital, and it felt very rushed. I had my daughter slept with me in the bed, and they did not like that. But I don't know, just never felt comfortable leaving my baby in like a crib or anything. Like, I remember getting home and I'd put her in the crib, and every 5 seconds I was looking in the crib like, she okay? All right, she's good. Is she okay? And I just let her sleep with me from then. And
Same. We never did a crib.
Yeah, we had the bassinet, and then we felt like it was very unnatural. We're always checking on, like you said,
we tried it once, and Sebastian was crying the whole time. We're like, nope. We grabbed him, he stopped crying, and that was it.
Yeah. And that moment, those moments sleeping with your child, that is so precious. In that first 7 years, they feel protected, you're their guardian, they're, you know, you're everything. And
it's scary for kids to go to sleep too, because they're transitioning, and so for a parent to be there is very important.
I
So there's
agree.
nothing wrong with your child if they want you to go to bed with them. It's totally normal and healthy.
Yes, fear of the dark is one of our primal fears, and that's kind of what comes from that because of the entities in the darkness, you know. So, but yeah, they take that away and say, no, sleeping with your kid is so bad, you'll roll over on them. Come on. So it's ridiculous. Yeah.
I am the lightest sleeper with my kids in bed. Like, I don't know why I cannot fully like go into a very deep sleep with my kids in my bed. Like, I don't know if it's just like an instinct of needing to just be alert, but I don't think the risk is as bad as people like to believe it. And I co-slept with my daughter, and which I know a lot of people say, like, if you co-sleep with them, they'll never leave the bed. My daughter is 9 years old, has her own room, sleeps in her own bed most of the time. And I have my 2-year-old son who co-sleeps with me, and I love it. Like, I mean, of course, I love my own bed, but I know for my kids, like, there's a sense of security and comfort with sleeping with me, and I love it. Like, I love that we get to like share these moments together because I know they appreciate it
It's
a
like
lot.
a one big sleepover every night, you know. I love it too.
Yeah.
And we're creating these children that are so loved that they're going to be strong adults. They're not going to be traumatized, so they're not going to believe in outside authority. They'll know their authority is within themselves. They'll be strong. So that's what we're trying to create.
That's awesome. I think you guys are doing an absolutely amazing job. And I love hearing your story about free birthing. For myself, I had a midwife with my son. She was an amazing midwife. Like, she had all of the same similar views as me. Like, I remember we had our initial meeting to determine if she was going to be our midwife. And so she was good. She kind of sold me. And I had one more question. I'm like, all right, the only thing I asked for is like, y'all can't wear masks. And she's like, oh my goodness. And she's like, I had to fire one of my assistants because she wanted to wear a mask. But I had to keep telling her, like, we're not a hospital. And I loved her. I was like, all right, you're my midwife. Like, we can do this.
That's
And
great.
so, like, she was amazing. We didn't push any tests. Like, I ended up getting tested, like, my blood tested right around the beginning of my pregnancy for another reason, and we realized like my iron was down, and so that was the only testing I got throughout my pregnancy to make sure that my iron was up and ready to birth my son. But we didn't do an ultrasound. We only did where you could hear the heartbeat like loudly. We only did that twice. We did it one for my daughter and one for my son's father because he couldn't make the first appointment, but after that we did everything like old school. And a month it was about a month before I had my son, and I had a friend who introduced me to the Free Birth Society, and she was like, just listen to these like podcasts. And I thought to myself, like, wow, these women are amazing. When I have my next child, I'm gonna try to free birth and stuff like that. And so it was not even in my mind, and it was like in the last month, I was just like, for some reasons that was kind of personal to me, I decided like I'm just gonna do it. Like, I delivered my daughter, and I think I did quite fine, and I can do the same thing in the comforts of my own home, but with myself. And I had a trusted friend at the time, and it was hard. I'm not one of those people who are going to come on here and tell you that it was the most pleasant experience. There are many times where I was like, no, take me to the hospital, like this baby's got to go now. But I stuck through it, and I had my son in the bathroom of my home, and it was the best thing, which my placenta came out an hour later. But I had a midwife, and she was okay with my decision to free birth, and she set me up with all like the homeopathy medications I could take in case there was like complications, in case the baby wasn't breathing or we couldn't get the placenta out, and we were able to get the placenta out and fine. And he's a healthy baby boy who is pretty much running the household now.
That's awesome.
Wow,
Great
good for
job.
you. Yeah, terrific job taking your power back.
I wanted to add a few more things that I learned during this birth. The placenta, I learned, the first mother, she's giving the baby oxygen when it comes out. The baby's still breathing while it's connected to the first mother. So, or connected to the first mother, it doesn't have to breathe like we normally do, like with air. And so if the cord is around the neck, I learned that the baby doesn't suffocate because it's not breathing with its neck and its lungs yet. So that was really fascinating to me, to learn all these things before giving birth to him. What else did I want to say? I wanted to say something else, but I already lost it.
Just the comfort after it's, the delivery is over, being in your home. It's such an amazing feeling.
Oh, I remember.
Instead of being in a foreign, in a different place.
I tore really bad. I just want to let people know, if you tear, your body heals without being sutured. The skin will heal. It's made to heal. Just to let people know, because that's a big thing women are worried about. And I tore it. Having a baby is equivalent to breaking, they say, like 15 bones. It's insane.
Yes, and hats
It's
off
intense.
to all the women out there, the sacred feminine women having births, taking their power back.
Bringing life.
It's an amazing movement going on right now. The hospitals are going to be going broke because we're not giving them our hard-earned money and having these births there anymore. It's great.
There's probably be a few. We'll see. Yeah. There'll be less.
I'm not saying everyone, but it's definitely a movement of
I agree.
women, and you see it on that Free Birth Society. There's a lot of.
The more we expose it and talk about it, the more people can be open and learn, and women will see more of the alternative sides.
Yeah.
Agree. And it's all about us sharing our stories, to kind of help put those fears to rest, because I know that we just been giving lies like, when you need to have a hospital birth, your child needs to get some shots in them, we need to come check on you every 2 hours. Like, it's ridiculous. But you hear these women talk about stories how they had C-sections and then they were able to free birth after C-section. But when you go to a doctor, they're like, no, it's probably a good chance that you're going to have a C-section again. And it's like, these are all lies to disempower women. Like, even if it's your first time, your body and your instincts knows how to deliver your baby. And there are many ways that you can
1 second.
troubleshoot, some of the issues that can happen during like when you're birthing your child. Like, if they're breached, there are certain things that you can do to, help that process. Like, if, again, like you said, like when the cord is around the neck, that doesn't mean that the birth is at risk. Like, I feel like they put so much fear into people that they can't trust themselves, and they feel like they have to trust somebody else to help them do what is natural for them.
And the TV, I watched Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and during her birth, the cord is wrapped around the baby's neck and they freak out. And just what we've been taught on the TV has really controlled our thoughts when it comes to birth.
Agreed. So is there any advice you would give to anyone who may be interested or have any questions about birthing at home and free birthing?
Yeah, I would tell them to do the hours, check out some videos, learn from other women that have gone through the same thing, and that'll inspire them or open them up to other possibilities.
And men out there, you support your women,
I'll be right back.
Love them, support them, and it's their choice, not yours. So you got to support that um, and yeah, just be there and be do whatever you can to help facilitate that natural birth, really.
So how was that for you, trusting your wife to bring in your son, not unassisted because I know you were there, but to
Yeah,
allow her to trust herself to deliver the baby. What did
yeah.
you do to, assist her in her birthing experience?
Well, just trying. I mean, with this one, it was actually a conscious conception. So that was an amazing experience. And then when we got pregnant, we said, all right, we're gonna take our power back.
They
And
told us to go to the hospital, remember? Her midwife.
everyone said, yeah, um, but for me personally, I was just there to support, make her as comfortable as I could. Really, from the start of the pregnancy, that was kind of my mindset with both children. Just be there, let her be comfortable. The less stress, the better for a
Mhm.
pregnant woman, because that stresses the baby, stresses everyone. So, and then during the delivery, it was just to remain calm. I know she knows her body very well, and I trust her there. And we have such an amazing relationship as friends and uh, just best buddies, really. So I knew she knew her body. So whatever you need, I'm here, support. And I've been a coach before in sports and whatnot, so I can very encouraging and positive there. Um, you don't want to show fear. I'm not that fearful a person, so I wouldn't really be fearful and panic. I used to be a lifeguard. I don't know if that helps, but anyway.
This time I didn't want him touching me at all. The birth in the hospital with Sebastian, he rubbed my back. I didn't want him to touch me at all when I gave birth to this guy.
Yeah,
It was so intense. Sebastian's was 12 hours and this guy was 6 hours, but it was so intense. And
quicker, yes, faster pace, and then it was over. It was just wow. Yeah, it was an amazing experience to witness, and
your teeth, sweetheart.
man, and it was nerve wracking, like you said. It's not easy, but those moments when they come out and you hear them and everything's amazing, and you're just wow, over the moon.
That's awesome.
So
It's amazing that you were able to be, that support for her during that time. Like for me, I needed my friend to be there. I had two friends, but one of my friends had to leave in the middle of the process because it took a long time. Like I waited as long as I could before I called my friend over, but my son, oh my goodness, I had contractions November 21st in the morning, and he didn't
yeah,
come until the afternoon of November 22nd. And
Wow.
so it was a pretty long process, but having the support, like they were very supportive. Like if I was talking about how I wanted to go to the hospital just because I was kind of over laboring. Not that I wanted to be in a hospital. I was just done. I was tired, exhausted, but they were very encouraging. They attended to all of my needs, and it truly was like such an amazing experience. Like I do recommend women to do it, like to just try it out, because you'd be surprised how strong and capable you are when it comes to this, because you don't you don't really get a lot of pain management, and so you're kind of forced to be able to endure that pain, which is a beautiful process because that pain is involved in the birthing process. But the ability to have your close knit neighbor, I mean not neighbors, your close knit like community, your family, and having them there as a support, like I don't know, it's honestly amazing. I'm very grateful that I was able to stick through it and I was able to deliver my baby on my term. Like Afterwards, after we got the placenta out, I went to sleep. Nobody bothered me. It was
Yeah,
amazing. There was no
that is
bright
awesome.
lights. Like, I was just in the comfort of my home. It truly the
Yeah,
best experience I've ever had.
that's beautiful. In your own bed, yeah, it's just incredible. Yeah,
And
buddy.
no
And it is
hospital
legal,
food.
everybody. You can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We got the birth certificate for this little guy. Did you get the birth certificate for your little guy? Or did you not
Um,
do that yet?
my son is undocumented. I'm in the process of claiming other type of forms of identification for
I'm so
him.
sorry, everybody. I'm so
It's all
sorry.
right.
Parenting, it never stops. You know how it is.
Especially with young ones.
Yes.
Fortunately, my son is with his father right now because I wouldn't be able to do this. He
Yeah.
would probably shut the live off. So I always have to do mine when he's not around because he's so busy. But I
Yeah.
love it. Like,
Oh, yeah. They're
he's
so cute.
fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That age, just like 1 to 3, or from birth to 3 to 4,
Okay,
they're so
sweetheart.
cute. And then the ego starts coming in, and then you try to get them to listen to you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's not easy.
Yeah, I have a 9-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I really do love like the toddler stage. It is quite challenging because they understand us, but they don't really understand like they can't understand consequences. So it's a lot different than having a 9-year-old, but then that comes with its own, like, it's fun because I can have conversations with my daughter and we can really connect emotionally and we can really do like hands-on projects. But then it's like she's also at the age where she's trying to find herself and her identity and find where her boundaries are at. So it's challenging, but I like all of the stages. So I really enjoyed like the toddler, just like watching them like sit up, be able to hold their heads, be
Yeah.
able to just stand up, like that whole process. I don't
Yeah.
really remember it with my daughter. Well, from 0 to 2, I don't really remember it with her because I was always working. And so I didn't really get to like witness a lot of like her first like steps and everything.
Yeah.
So that's been a really great experience with, being dedicated as being a stay-at-home mom.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Good for you. Yeah, those times you can't get back. That time with your child in that age range, and it's just, yeah, it's precious. Those moments, and being there for them when they look up at you and they're learning all the physical 3 dimension. It's amazing.
The biggest responsibility.
Yeah, it is.
It
And
is.
it's the hardest job there is, and you're not paid for it at all. So and it never stops. There's never a time to check out, you know. The true parenting when we take that responsibility. Um, but if you don't do the parenting in the first 7 years, then they could be living with you till they're 60, or who knows. So
Mhm.
we create codependent people, adult children, more or less.
I agree. I agree. I mean, the foundational sorry, the family foundation is so critical when it comes to, preparing our children for the real world. And it's something that we have to take more serious. I know that not everyone has the opportunity to become like full-time parents and stuff, but if we just take a little bit more time with our children and being more conscious with what they're observing through us and what their environment is, like, we could really put our children on a better path. And it is a commitment, it is a dedication, it is a struggle at times, and it does require sacrifice. But if we don't take conscious parenting more serious, then we have the chance of raising codependent children's, raising children with abandonment issues, raising children who do not understand their worth and their value and their place in the world, which can cause a lot more problems like codependencies on substances, codependencies and relationships, because our relationship with our children like echo throughout their lives. So it is really important to be in your children's life like intentionally for those first 7 years and more. Like parenting doesn't stop at 7, parenting doesn't stop at 18. You are always going to be a parent. We just have to take responsibilities when it comes to parenting and, you know, really put some attention and effort into raising our kids so that they can, you know, develop and become like decent human beings.
Oh, wonderfully said.
Yes. Well
Wonderfully
said.
said.
Yeah, beautifully said. We just it's that conscious parent that's done some inner work that can
Self-love, healing.
that self-responsibility. It starts within that parent, because if they're ignorant, then that just gets passed down, right? If they're apathetic, all of that. If they're lazy, if they're coward, is that all gets passed down, and that just creates that immoral society kind of that we're in, and we need to empower our children and show that true care for them and
Mhm.
attention, and that builds strong individuals and strong adults that are critical thinkers, conscious adults.
And they're geniuses, you know, we have to trust them, you know, more and stop trying to control them. That's what I've learned. The less I control my kids, the more they listen, the better they feel, the less I control or try to, you know, control the situation or whatnot.
Mhm.
We don't own our children, folks. We don't own them.
No, we just are here to guide them and be stewards to them, protect them, of course, and inform them of the truth. We don't need to hide the truth from them. They can handle it. Yeah,
Mhm.
even the dark, awful truth, that's all right. They can handle it. And
Occulted sciences.
yeah, of course, natural laws. All right, doing no harm, and yeah, do not steal, of course. So I had to learn all these things the hard way. Um, yeah, through lots of lessons and hard lessons, but that's kind of helped my awakening, of course. Our experiences, knowing thyself and knowing how our reality works. Um, so yeah, it's an amazing experience, and with all the emotions, joyful, sad, you know, anxious, everything goes into parenting basically,
Mhm.
and just caring and being responding with love and not reacting. We try to always do, even though we're not perfect. So being aware of how you react or respond.
A lot is unconscious behaviors too from our upbringing, and so a lot of parents, you know, it brings us face to face with traumas of our own, and
Mhm.
we need to heal those traumas in order to have a better relationship with our children. So
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Parenting starts within first. Like, if you are going to be a parent or you have kids, you have to do the inner work, because a lot of the way that we parent our children come from how we were like how we were parented. And I know for myself, I always told myself like I would never be like my mom. I would never be like her. And I be sitting here almost every day like, man, I am just like my mom, even though I didn't want
yeah.
to. I had those programs, I had those beliefs, and they carried into me. And so now I am taking the time to, you know, reflect on how I show up for my kids, how I respond to them, and see like that I could probably go about that a completely different way. I actually don't like how I responded this way. I need to figure out better ways to communicate with my children. And it's so important that we take the time to break these generational patterns that we receive from our parents, who most likely received it from their parents and their experience and their upbringings. But someone has to say, hey, you want to know what? Actually, this wasn't really the best parenting style. I understand that my parents did what they could, the best that they could do, but I can do better, and so I will do better for my children, because I'm not the best parent. Like, I am quick to yell. I get very frustrated and stuff like that. But I have learned to not take that frustration and all that stress out on my children, and actually identify, like, yes, should my child be dumping gallons of water on the carpet for the sixth time today? No. But do I have to flip out every single time? No. I could tell my child, hey, do you want to go outside and dump water in the grass? Like, there are tons of ways that we can navigate situations that our children do. It just takes the time and taking responsibility and changing, and not just getting into, well, that's just who I am, that's all I know. Like that, I think that's a cop out. That's an excuse. Like, we have to take responsibility, and we have to take the action to be better and to do better for our children, so that when they ever have kids, that they're not passing down generational patterns and traumas to their children, and so that we can all become better individuals and raise morally and free individuals.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderfully said.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the self-love that always comes back to that. How we treat ourselves, we treat others.
Yeah, Luv-A-Lution is the solution. If we all loved ourselves, wow, this place would change overnight. We'd all treat each other with respect, care, and and integrity. Yeah, and I'm thankful that I did some work on myself before having kids. Definitely, I watched my brothers. I have a lot of nieces, nephews, and they went the convenient route, just like my parents. School, sports, religion. So very, and then all the devices too that were like right in front of the kids, very young. And I thought, I'm never, like you said, I'm never gonna send my kids to school. I had that thought, and I said before I even met Amy, and I'm never gonna put like devices in front of them and think that's okay, while they just their brains just decay away. And studies have shown the more screen time, our brains do decay. Unfortunately. So that was my brothers were a good example of how not to be unconscious parenting. And I said, if I ever meet the one, Amy, and we have kids, and we're going to do it radically different. And it's been amazing. People fall off on the journey of truth. It's lonely.
But then we meet great people like Byanca, and we meet and we network, and it's wonderful. Very grateful to have met you.
Absolutely.
Another parent that's working
conscious
on yourself and loving yourself and expressing yourself and sharing the truth. It's wonderful. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah, we love your channel. Love that bright colors. You're a bright light shining through out there in Idaho.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate your guys' compliment, and I appreciate all that you guys do. Like, seriously, it's not an easy journey, and sometimes it gets lonely. Sometimes it's horrible, because, like, the truth, and everyone is around you telling you that you don't know what you're talking about, that you are not setting up your kids for a correct, like, future, and they get concerned and they push their insecurities and their fears on you, and it gets very lonely, because, like, those relationships you kind of distance yourself away from. And for the longest time, I wasn't really finding anyone who thinks similar to me. Like, I know we all have our different perspectives and everything, but, like, I would find people who were into, we're going to just call them conspiracies, who was into conspiracies, and then they would want to talk about it, but that was it. And I remember I remember finally meeting like a girls group where we had like formed a little community, and all I just wanted to do was just talk about all the bad stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get that. Like, I want to talk about this stuff with you guys too, because I don't have nobody else to talk about. But like, where's the solutions? Like, we can't just keep complaining about what is going on in the world. We need to start coming up with solutions. So like, it is a very lonely journey, but as I've gone through this journey, I have started to meet so many more people who align to the same values and principles as I do. And it's been truly amazing. And I truly feel like I've been meeting genuine people now, not just people who know what's going on, but then still puts their heads back into the sand. And so like if you're patient in this journey and you do the work, and you go through periods of solitude and isolation and ridicule, you will eventually find the people who resonate with you and the things that you are into. And so like
Absolutely.
I agree, like
Yeah.
it's been fun and it's been a challenge and whatnot, but honestly I feel like the people who really weren't meant for me have fallen out of my life, as that is the natural progression of life and evolution. But I find that so much more quality people have entered my life and my experience, and I really love that.
Yeah, that is good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we love Nikola Tesla, and he says, you want to know the world, the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So everything is energy and vibration, and being around low vibrational beings, it's very difficult, and your perceptions are so off.
Different
And
frequency,
yeah,
literally.
different frequencies, right? You're not resonating. It's like two instruments out of tune. They're not going to make good music together. And we've tuned ourselves up. You've tuned yourself up, and we're at a frequency now. We're resonating. We've come into each other's lives through these shows, which has been so beautiful and synchronistic. And that like attracts like. So it's amazing, like you said, meeting all these open-minded, genuine people, isn't it refreshing?
Yeah, we saw you interview Diesel. We love him. We saw Will. We love him.
Yeah.
Like, awesome job.
Yeah, great job
Great
with the
people.
interviews.
Thank you. So I think a lot of people fear like coming onto this path is because like I think that a lot of people have self-esteem issues. So a lot of people can't handle being ridiculed or even rejected by their family. Um the thought of losing some friends, a relationship, through just having different views and like value systems. I think that's a great concern of people, but I think you overcome that by addressing those triggers and those wounds within you that has a fear of abandonment, that has a fear of being ridiculed. Like, I know a lot of people in my life, they love me and I have great relationships with them, but they don't understand me. They don't understand my approach. And that's okay. That's not for them to understand at this point. But for me, I always had a fear of abandonment and rejection. And so coming on this path, it made me face all of those type of traumas and actually deal with them. And because of that, I've learned to be happy alone. I've learned to just trust that the people who were no longer meant to be in my life would eventually fall away, and then that the people that really were here to, help build me up and empower me would gravitate into my life. And again, that required a lot of courage and a lot of strength and a lot of inner work, which I always recommend that people do the inner work. There's no escaping it. You cannot live a happy and fulfilled life if you don't do that inner work.
No, absolutely. The inner,
get to know yourself, people.
The inner creates the outer. Okay, so we were taught life happens to you, but no, it happens from you. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the big victim. Oh no, it's all out there. Oh, I'm a poor victim. So you got to be the victor, like Diesel says, and not the victim. and take your power back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say no to people. The most powerful word in the universe. No, no, no.
And the more you love yourself, the more you say, I don't give a shite what you think of me.
Yeah.
I love myself, and that's all that matters. You don't like me, that's okay. That's all right. But it doesn't make me not like myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being your best friend, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your higher self is always looking out for you and knows the journey you're on and knows which way you're supposed to go. When you connect with that heart intelligence instead of the egoic mind intelligence, you can um, take the signs and the omens in life to follow your true path. And
connect to your infinite self.
that's that Luv-A-Lution we all go on towards love, because we all are love at the base frequency. We are love, and then
100%.
then the
Yes,
programs get put
agreed.
on right away,
Yeah,
and our
honey.
light dims, dims. Then we're adults, and then we're no fun anymore, and we can't smile, and we're all serious. And yeah, we said we got to pull our heads out of our rear ends. Unfortunately, no one else can do it but ourselves, right? And that's that inner work. And no one, you can't hear anything with your head up your rear end, right? You can't hear the truth, right? So people, when in this journey, people that don't resonate, it's hard to get them to resonate with you. So it's not even worth it. You kind of pick the battles, um, but it's like when you just stand strong and knowing thyself and screw what everyone else says or does or whatever, and knowing thyself to love thyself, those
Mm-hmm.
two are very interconnected. And without knowing thyself, it's very difficult to love yourself, because
Yes.
we fall into that self-loathing. We don't know. We think we're this role. I am, my name or my car or wherever I live or whatever. So anyway,
And I completely agree. Like, well said. I think it all comes down with that we all need to learn how to be honest with ourselves, learn
yes,
to identify our ego and surpass our ego. The ego is always going to be a part of our experience, and
yeah,
it's the one thing that I really had to unprogram out of my mind, because even though I went the truther route, I also kind of dabbled in a little bit of new age.
hmm,
Not gonna say like the philosophy, but like I kind of dabbled in like some of the practices, I guess. And
uh-huh.
so a lot of they talk about it's like you have to kill your ego. You have to have an ego death. And I spent all of this time like I still have an ego. Why is it still here? And it
Yeah,
took time for me to
yeah,
realize like the ego is a necessary part of me. Like I need the ego for me to survive. But the
yeah,
thing is, it's not
absolutely, yeah.
allowing the ego in the driver's seat, but to
Hmm.
surpass the ego and to align with my higher self. And that has
Yeah,
been one of the greatest like aha moments that I had. And so now I don't find myself trying to fight my ego as much. There's times that I do have to fight it, because sometimes my ego is still programmed in its old ways and likes to tell me what I can and cannot do. And sometimes I got to just tell it like, look, I understand you're trying to protect me. I know that your information is very limited, but we doing something different. We evolving. Like just come along on the ride with me.
yeah.
And
You just
it
have
really
to, yeah, turning the ego down. You don't have to turn it off, but have it not be the dominating voice, right? And
mhm.
that,
Especially the negative ego that shits on you all day. You've got to
yes,
quiet that thing down. You've got to quiet
Right.
it down.
which c- which which requires a lot of courage and a lot of strength. Like it's hard, like as someone who suffered depression and suicidal tendencies for 14 of my years of my life, I understand that sometimes that voice is so loud and it's so powerful. But when you take constant, consistent actions with, standing in your power and say, actually, that's not true. What you're saying is kind of a lie. Like, I know that, again, you're trying to protect me and everything, but we have to evolve past these programs. And it does get easier. Like before, my ego, my mind would get in my head, and I would be depressed for weeks, months. Now at worst, I have a bad day, and the next day we're good again. And that took a lot of practice. That took a lot of facing those voices and confronting all of the fears and the wounds, and addressing them so that they no longer were the main program that was running in my mind.
Yeah, good for you.
That's awesome.
Many people don't get there in many lives, and so you should be proud of yourself, questioning the answers. And it's the ego is very necessary. It's a tool to have in your toolbox, but you don't want to use a hammer for every single thing, right? Just when you use it, you put it down, and then that's it. And letting that heart-based intelligence is more knowing, where the ego lives in beliefs and fears everything and wants everything at the same time.
And I'm the same, Byanca. I was suicidal. I was very depressed. I had a very hard time getting through life. And now it's much better because I've inserted positive, positive affirmations. It was work, but I've gotten to a place where I'm happy, but it took a lot of work to get here.
I think that's what a lot of people fear, is that work, that it's not something that you can just do. Like, it's easier to turn the TV on and binge watch TV to not listen to that voice than to, confront those negative voices in your head and to say, like, actually, we're going to stop it right here. Like, this can no longer go on. And that's hard. Like, I completely understand. And it wasn't an easy process for me. It took time to get where I'm at now. And I still feel like I could do a lot better in my healing journey. But I don't allow myself to give up. I realize how far how far I've gotten since where I was. And I'm very proud of myself, of the results that I can see now, which, when you're doing the inner work, sometimes you're not going to be able to see those immediate results of all of your work and all of the reflections, the exercises, the positive affirmations. Sometimes it takes time for you to actually see the change within yourself and in your experiences. But if you don't give up and you commit to it, you will see the results, as like you would commit to going to the gym and eating healthy to get your body in better shape.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
true.
And yes, the self-love is so important, that self-respect, right? We wouldn't even attempt to improve ourselves without it. Our moms and dads did the best they could, but we got to forgive them and then put that love that they were meant for us on ourselves, right? If you don't love anyone here in this world, you got to love yourself first and foremost, and you can't give what you don't have. So I got to love myself in order to love my partner, right? And truly, if I could pretend, and then there'll be issues along the way, but a lot of hiccups in the road. But that true love, for yourself and respecting yourself, where you're not going to put up with someone talking badly about you. You're going to speak up and defend yourself. And being your best friend, that inner child, that's so important. And it's great that you're gone on this journey. So many are so asleep, as all over this earth.
Which, thank you. And I mean, you guys are doing a fantastic job on your own, and doing that inner work and aligning to your true values and principles, and speaking out as how you guys see fit. Like, there is, I don't
Thank
think
you.
anyone can really understand the stress that life can present when you are a full-time parent. And when you're a full-time parent and you know the truth and you know what's going on, and you are dealing with your own personal issues in your own life, as well as dealing with what is happening in the collective, like, that is a stress that is not really talked about really in the like truth freedom community. But I mean, I just want to say, for those people who are, rather you're a conscious parent or you don't have any kids, or you're in the truth community, that you really do need to take care of yourself, and you really do need to prioritize the inner work so that you can recognize your own personal power, and so that you can come out here and do what you need to do to spread awareness and your message.
Absolutely, yes. You got to go within or you go without.
I love you.
In the
Poor
simple
baby,
terms.
he's teething.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, it's okay. I completely understand. So there's just a couple more things that I want to talk about. And we can kind of do this quickly. I just want to know, like, what is your guys's principles and the way you guys homeschool your children?
Yeah, well, yeah, our principles are very, do no harm with natural laws. We've aligned when we learned Passio's info back in 2017, 2018. We really integrated and aligned with the universal laws, the hermetic principles, and so we stopped eating dead animal flesh, and cheese and all that. We're not vegans. We just don't eat anything with a face, and we don't like labels. Labels are for cans. And but what else? So yeah, homesteading. We don't have like a bunch of animals, and we just have a garden basically, and then got some land and got wanted to get out of the mortgage race, because mortgage, that word's French and it means death pledge. Mort means death. Sorry, we're changing the baby right now. But, so we got out of the death pledge, mortgage, and sold our house, got some land, and just wanted to grow some food. We had no property on that last house, had just a house and very tiny acreage with no sun coming through really to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so we found an amazing spot, like on the side of a mountain, and we can see Canada, mountains, we can see rivers, bays, lakes, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, it's like a little paradise, 5D paradise that we love to share. We want to do a conference, kind of like a camp Luv-A-Lution, and have people come and tent and share info and network, and yeah, lots of fun things, hikes and nature walks. So that would be amazing in the works, and of course you're invited. But yeah, homesteading. We just wanted to stop paying the man, get out of the matrix somewhat. That was our goal. We wanted to keep more of our hard-earned money, because that American dream, paying that mortgage, is a nightmare, and it's not a. You got to be asleep to buy the American dream, like George Carlin said.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is just more our life, more kind of up our alley. We had no idea of how we were going to do it. Didn't know the skills, but we just dove and took that radical action into the unknown, and we've evolved quickly there and learned a lot of life skills along the way. So yeah, but principles is definitely first. You know, we love the animals and the trees, and we speak for them. And yeah, they're telling us not to harm them anymore. They don't want to be harmed. And so yeah, we harm all day long. People cut down trees. They don't think they're living things. And then the animal cruelty we all know about that goes on everywhere. So yeah, we basically, yeah, and it simplifies your life too, because we don't need a fridge to keep meats and cheeses all preserved or anything. So then we don't need to pay for a fridge that to be running. And on solar, it would just barely have enough to keep a fridge going. So we just got rid of it. We just have a bag, and we don't waste. We eat pretty much everything, and all our scraps go into the garden, kind of like just a big revolving compost. And yeah, that's kind of been how the homesteading's gone. It's not forever, but for now, we are growing out of it as the little guy's getting bigger. So once he starts moving around, we're gonna need more space. But yeah, we'll always have these skills that we can take anywhere with us and modify any home we're at or anywhere we go. Really,
I like it. I like it. And this journey is all about taking like a leap of faith and then just trusting in yourself and your ability to figure it out as you grow, as you go, and as you grow. Like the
absolutely.
stuff that I've learned on the farm, I mean, it gave me skills I don't think that current school would have ever gave me. Like, I mean, I had to be flexible, I had to be adaptable, I had to learn to be patient, to just observe,
Yeah.
to observe nature, just to, like, you know, really try to get ahead, like with, you know, what comes with having a farm, which we had a lot of animals. We had like tons of ducks and chickens. I really love ducks. They're
Oh,
great.
they're hilarious. Yeah.
And we had lots of goats. I will never have goats again. That was a
Yeah.
terrible,
Yeah.
terrible
They
animal
run
to
away a
raise.
lot, right? The goats. Yeah.
Yeah. And they eat up everything. They're always into stuff. They're so destructive. But we had a horse, and that
Oh, I
that
love
was
the
so
horses.
fun to
Yeah.
have.
Wow, they're magical horses. Yes.
So
So the homesteading kind of my epiphany first started on a cannabis farm in California, where I was earthing every day, working. I was a slave for these growers basically, and I didn't really know about growing food, but I learned so much. Like you said, being on a farm, holy cow, and being in the sun and being earthing all day, no shoes on the earth, helped to, I think, basically my first epiphany when I told you my heart chakra blew open. That was all before I was on the farm. It was about 8, 9 months being on that farm, and then at the end, that awakening, I was given that amazing gift of truth and knowledge and downloads. And I think it was from being with the earth and learning we got to grow our food, we got to produce and stop being consumers. Too many consumers, not enough producers,
great.
creates this chaos and mess that we have today.
Yeah, and it creates dependencies. A lot of people don't even know how food is grown, which is kind of
I
sad. So
know.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. I mean, even just learning the basics and being able to grow your own food in whatever kind of space that you have is an amazing step and skill to have.
Mm.
So how do you include your Otis in your homesteading?
How do we include who?
Your Otis?
Our kids?
Oh, what? What does Otis mean? What do you mean by that?
No, how do you include your oldest child
Oh,
in
our oldest.
homesteading?
Oh, yes. He.
Nice. He loves gardening. So we bring him out to the garden and he says, Mommy, what seeds are we planting today? And he's very interested in it. He helps me around the house. We cook homemade pizza. He hits a hammer and is learning the ruler, to measure.
Yeah, he's a big help, and he's just observing all of us doing what we're doing with the wood. He helps gather the wood, or I chop the wood up. He loves mimicking Daddy, and we give him a little, mini thing to chop and bring the wood in. We're always moving wood around, as we use that for heat mainly in the winter. We have a furnace, but we don't run it that much.
We do everything together as a conscious group,
Yeah, we'll go to the spring together, and I teach him this water comes from the earth, and it's clean and pure. And he helps, learn about that. We run around, and what else do? We have a few acres, so we can go like for a little hike on our land and just be in the woods and hug some trees and just teach him observation of, seeing bugs, just having fun with him. But he's a great help with the little guy because he's 7, just about to be 7, and he's 6 months, so he loves being the big brother role right now.
It's a nice gap like you have there with your 2.
Yeah, I personally don't see how people can have kids like back to back, like especially like toddlers.
That creates that competition.
I said that the other day.
The sibling rivalry, very, very, because they're fighting for that attention.
Yeah.
Where one is older and they've gotten the mommy by herself, and now she can help mommy raise the second child, and it's a good learning experience for both. We think, and.
I like the gap. I said, how can mommies have 2 in a diaper? I just don't get it.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah.
I had a hard enough time with 1 in a diaper.
I agree. And I love that my Otis is, more dependent. So like I don't always have to be chasing her around while chasing her brother around. Like it's great. And then like they can entertain each other for the most part. I mean, my 2-year-old is still very attached to me. If I'm not around, he comes looking for me. But they can, like, my Otis is old enough to be able to like watch her brother, and I love it. It's been such an amazing help.
Yes, that's amazing too. And when she gets older and has her own kids, she will really be an amazing mom as she watches you, conscious parent too,
I agree. And I think you guys are such amazing teachers and parents to your kids. Like we are our kids' first teachers. Like they are always observing, always picking things up from us, whether we are conscious of it or not. And to, take conscious actions to be present and to teach them valuable skills and teaching them principles and moralities. Like you guys seriously deserve like an award, because it is not an easy task. It is, for the true warriors out there, and you guys are doing an amazing job, so keep at it.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited to see what
we
you guys
don't hear
are
that
do.
often because we do the opposite of most people, so they think, what are they doing? But we appreciate that you see that, and we thank you for that.
We appreciate you, and we right back at you, girl. You're doing amazing work out there, being that beam of that lighthouse amongst all the asleep people, and you just keep spreading that truth, because they'll get it sooner or later.
I agree. It's all about planting those seeds, whether they want to hear it or not. I mean, eventually the truth will come out, and you know, eventually we won't be seen as the crazy ones, the people who lost their minds. You know, people eventually, like, you want to know what? They were trendsetters. Like, they were the ones who were really setting the pace for us.
No, you're
We're,
right.
we're the
So,
leaders of the new world, you know.
Yes.
We all,
yes.
it's us truthers. We're the leaders of the new world, and we show others what's possible.
And yes, leaders of the Luv-A-Lution, right? We're leaders, and because we've informed ourselves consciously, we made that decision, right? And
Mhm.
and now we've woken ourselves up and just keep being that example, right? People, they won't listen to you, but you just keep being your own, you know, loving yourself, being true to yourself, and
You okay?
you know, that's amazing. Being the change, right? We want to see
Yes.
in the world. That's so true. That's phrase, and that's kind of what we've taken. And when we had kids, we said, you know, we're not going to let them dictate our lives. They're going to come with us on this Luv-A-Lution, and we're going to see where it goes. Spread it.
It's a mutual thing with you and your kids, you know. You don't have to let
Yes.
your kids lead the show. You don't have to lead the show. You guys both have needs, and you can
Yes.
have those met together.
Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. You guys have any last words you guys would like to share? Please tell everybody where they can find you at.
Nice. Yes, you can go to luvalution.net. LUVALUTION, Luv-A-Lution.net. And our email's on there. If you're interested in our superfood, you can email us and we will get back to you.
Yeah, we have YouTube videos and other truth videos, and an amazing truth warrior page of over 75, 80 truth speakers and seekers like Byanca and ourselves and many others out there. So yeah, check us out. Right, free your mind control. Pull your head out of your rear end. Only you can do it. Okay,
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
No,
start the
knowing
journey.
thyself, to love thyself, questioning the answers. Right, we got to take our power back, and yeah, love yourself every day, no matter what.
We're going to create a beautiful world
And
together.
and not this trendy pop star, love yourself, go spoil yourself, but it's that true being with yourself in stillness, in silence, in nature, and listening to your soul or yourself, you know, the same. So
mhm.
yeah, we love you guys. We do this because we care. We love everyone, and we're so thankful for Byanca for having us on. And just reach out to us on our website or email, whatever. We're very easygoing, open-minded people, and yeah, love you guys. Camp Luv-A-Lution, we'd love to have you out there, and bring the kiddies.
We'll have some great talks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, my goodness. Beautiful words. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
coming
Thank
on
you,
as guests.
Bianca.
You guys are so fun to talk to. Like, I really
Oh,
enjoyed
thank
this
you.
talk. I
Us
said
too.
before, I'm a very nervous person, but this talk has been so relaxing and so chill. So thank you guys so much for
Oh
your
yes.
time.
Thank
Our
you,
pleasure.
sister.
Just like a friend. Yeah, we just haven't met yet. Good
Right?
friends. Yeah. So keep your mind open and keep doing that awesome work out there, Bianca. Love to see you sometime.
For sure. We'll definitely stay in contact. But
Yes.
that is all for today, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe before you go. And I will see you guys all on the next video. Take care, everybody.
Luv-A-Lution. Peace. Thank you.